Hello everyone, myself Manan Goyal. So the topic for the today's assignment of the subject Systems and Network Security is Telnet and SSH configuration on the router with access. So what is Telnet? Telnet or Teletype Network Protocol is a protocol which is used for connecting or communicating with remote computers and servers over a TCP/IP network. Telnet is a client server protocol that enables user to interact with remote systems using a terminal emulation application. It was one of the first protocols used for remote access to computers. Telnet has some security issues and limitations, so it is not commonly used for remote access anymore. Uses TCP as its transport layer protocol to establish a connection between the client and server. Now, moving on and talking about SSH or Secure Shell Protocol, a network protocol used for secure remote access and communication between network devices, works on application layer of the OSI reference model, which is also known as Open Systems Interconnection Reference Model. SSH is widely used in networked environment, particularly in the administration of servers and network devices. SSH uses a public key encryption system to authenticate the client and server and to establish a secure channel between them. It also uses TCP as its transport layer protocol to establish a connection between the client and server, like Telnet. Now, here is the very small differences between the Telnet and SSH protocol. So, Telnet is obviously less secure protocol in comparison with SSH, and also it sends data in a plain text, whereas SSH sends data in an encrypted format, making it more secure. Also, Telnet uses no authentication mechanism, whereas SSH uses public key encryption in order to authenticate remote users. Now, let us see that how are we going to move ahead in the practical. So the ease of setting up a remote access is, firstly, we are going to create a network topology in the Cisco packet tracer. Secondly, we are going to configure routers and assign IP addresses to the devices, which is actually a common practice. Then we are going to enable this. Then we are going to enable passwords and username for the Telnet and SSH respectively. Step 4 is that we are going to first establish a Telnet connection, and over that we are going to then establish SSH connection. Let us begin the practical. Let us now open our Cisco packet tracer and create a topology. So my Cisco packet tracer, I'm just going to open it. Cisco packet tracer, and then we are going to create a topology. In topology, it is very clear that we are going to use end device and a router, but we are also going to use a switch. The reason why I'm using a switch is because, just a minute, I'll move this side. So the reason that I'm using a switch is because in most of the infrastructures, the switch is used. So from here, I have placed the router. From here, I have placed the switch. And in the end devices, let us say we have PC. We can take laptop also. So now we'll do the connection with the straight cable. And the reason with the straight cable is because it can only connect. So now switch from fast Ethernet 02 with the only fast Ethernet port of the PC. Now that we had made the connection, we have made the topology. Let us assign IP addresses first. So let us assume that I'm going to assign the IP address 10.0.0.1 to the router. And then I'm going to assign the 10.0.0.2 to the PC. Now what I'll do is, I'll go to the PC first, I'll go to the desktop, I'll go to the IP configuration, and then I'll enter 10.0.0.2. And as you can see, so the subnet mask has already been automatically been updated. Now the default gateway also, what I'll do is I'll just enter the router's IP address. Why is that? Because in the single router, we have no problems. But in the multiple architecture or in the critical infrastructure, we might face problems that from where the PC is going to send the data. Okay, it could be any router. So let us first enter default gateway, which is 10.0.0.1. Okay. So now that we have assigned everything, so let us just close this terminal and let us go to the router. Okay. So in router, we are going to go in CLI, and it always asks us, if you are first time opening it, it always asks us, would you like to enter the initial configuration dialog? So right now we don't need it. So I'm just going to press no. And after no, you can see that I have come to the router. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do enable command, which can be used as en also. So now that I have enabled the router, I'll go in config terminal. Okay. There are various things that we can configure. Like you can see that we can config terminal. We can also configure various lines. So right now we are going to go in terminal config T. Now that we are inside, we will enable password. We'll set our enable password, which would be, let us say 123. Okay. Then what we'll do is, then we'll go for line VTY, and how many users at a time can operate a virtual terminal. Line VTY means virtual terminal. So how many users can actually operate virtual terminal? So that we are going to look at. So virtual terminal, for example, let us set 0 to 4. Now, what we'll do is we'll set password for this virtual terminal, which would be 1234. Remember, guys, password is very important. So please keep your passwords in your mind as feeded. So now I'll go for the interface that would be uh, F0/0. Okay. So why 0/0? Because that was our routers, this IP address. So we are going to assign the fast Ethernet cable which is connected to switch the IP address. So what would the IP address be? So IP address would be 10.0.0.1 as decided, and this same IP address I have put in the default gateway also. And after that, I'm going to add subnet mask, which was 255.0.0.0. Okay. So after this, what I'll do is, after this, to activate the port, I'm going to type this command no shutdown. Okay. Now, as you can see, line protocol on the interface, fast Ethernet change state to up. Okay. So what we are going to do is, now that we have established the IP address, now let us see that whether all the lines here are green. No, this is yellow. So let us wait for some time in order to get this green and our topology be a working live connection. So the connection has been established. All the lines are green. So we are good to go. Now I'll open my PC. I'll go to desktop. I'll open my command prompt. And let us see whether the computer is able to send packets and get a reply from router. So ping, what was the router IP address? 10.0.0.1. Okay, 1. Now let us go. So as you can see, the reply is coming from the routers. That means that we are connected to the router. Now what we'll do is, we are going to establish a telnet connection, which doesn't need any changes in the router itself. So we'll just go with telnet 10.0.0.1. Okay. Now it is going to ask us password. Now, what type of password is it? Is it enable password or is it virtual terminal password? So it is virtual terminal password. So 1234. That was the password set. It won't show here because this is a terminal in which the passwords are not shown. And the second thing is router. So what we'll do is, in the router, we are going to enable, which is en also. And the enable password comes hand right now. 123. Now what happens is, now that we are inside the router, let us do something malicious. So we'll go to config terminal, and now that we are inside the config terminal, I'll just set the host as let us say student. So yes, we are here. Now what we'll do is, we'll just minimize it and we'll go to router. And let us see that whether our host name is changed or not. As you can see, here the student has been there, so the changes are being made. So the telnet connection is pretty much successful. Now, moving on to the SSH connection. Now, for the SSH, there are many like there are very few changes that we need to make. So first, I'm going to close everything. So this was our basic topology. I'll just go to router, and I'll then we are already in the config terminal. So I'll just go to line VTY. Okay. So I'm going to line VTY and 0 space 4 again. And then I'm going to create here a login, which would be my name, for example, Manan. And so okay. So sorry, login local, I'm going to do it. Now I have created a local access. I have given a local account and the local access. Now what I'll do is I'll transport input SSH. So this is what we are going to do for the SSH, and then we are going to exit. Okay. Now what we are going to do is now we are going to set our username. So here I'll set Manan, that I was doing the mistake earlier, and the password as let us say Cisco. Okay. Now, password has a slash in it, so we will keep in mind. Now, what we'll do is IP domain name, and in this domain name, I'm going to do anything. I can keep manan.com also. So cisco.com. Then I'm going to go for the crypto key generate. So in the slides also, I have explained you that it uses public key encryption, and it also encrypts the packet. So here it comes in handy. So we are going to generate RSA because it uses only RSA algorithm. You can do it question mark also. Now it is going to ask us about how many bits do we want. So by default, we take 512. But the more bits you take, the more time it will take to configure. So let us keep it default only, and you can just press enter. Just for the demonstration, I'm showing it 512. So now what we'll do is, now that the key has been generated, I'll just go to my PC and in there command. Now I'll go uh, exit. Huh? So yeah, now the now that I'm in fresh terminal, let us do SSH. So SSH hyphen L means login. And what was my username? My username was Manan. Okay. And then Manan, and then I'll use the IP address, which would be 10.0.0.1. Now it is asking for password. So the password was Cisco and a slash. So now that I'm in, so I have established successfully a SSH connection. So you can explore it more if you want. You can go enable, you can go with enable passwords, you can go more inside you can even configure terminal, and now you can change the host name back to router with capital R's. So here that we have made the changes. Now let us see whether the router has accepted our changes or not. So I'll just click enter and see it has been changed to router, and also here SSH is enabled. So thank you for watching this video, and please share your reviews and comments. Thank you so much.